Good morning, everyone. Are you ready? Today is going to be a chill day. That's right. On today's show, it's a very laid back atmosphere because today we're not really talking about too much. We got a brand new game that's come out absolutely out of nowhere that everyone seems to be praising. And if anything, maybe the discourse should be, why are we talking about a small time, almost not heard of game that's on Game Pass and PlayStation Plus rather than all the big AAA releases? Might be an interesting topic, no? But we're also going to talk about how yesterday went and more, but it's going to be a very laid back atmosphere here on the show. So sit back and relax. It's time for the Level 1 podcast.
Get ready for some meaningful content, because the king is back, the king of the live stream, the king is back. Woo!
Alrighty, folks, what is up? Today is Thursday, the 10th of April, 2025. We've already got people talking in chat, so let's chat. First off, people are like, what is going on? Why is Phil wearing that shirt today? Isn't it just spring? Why is he wearing a shirt that looks like it's summertime? Well, there's a couple of reasons why. Actually, there's a few. Reason number one is today I'm playing a game called Blueprints. And in honor of the launch of this game, which is apparently a super hot game that everyone's talking about. It's on Game Pass. It's on PS Plus. People are ranting and raving about this game, saying Game of the Year contender, which is wild for a game that I hadn't even heard of a week ago. But anyway, I said I wanted to color coordinate and do everything blue today. So we got the blue background, the blue border, blue text. And I said, what's the best shirt I have in my arsenal? And actually, I had gone shopping for spring and summer shirts a few weeks ago, and I was going to save this one for the summer, and I said, well, it's blue. It matches. Why not? Okay, it pops on camera as well, as you can see. It's a pretty nice looking shirt. So that's number one. Okay, number two, today it is going to be on the warmer side here in Washington State where I live. Normally in the Pacific Northwest around this time of year, it's like 50 degrees Fahrenheit with a lot of rain. Today we're supposed to have sun on and off and high 60s, which means it could be pretty hot in this office. So it made sense for me to be wearing lighter clothing. So that way I don't have to overheat. Okay, that's number two. And number three, I don't know if you can hear it. Let me see. You probably can't because of my filters on my mic. My neighbors are renovating. And while they're renovating, they have a guy going outside literally every 10 minutes sawing wood. So I'm putting up with it for now. But chances are, if this guy becomes more obnoxious with how loud that he's sawing, I'm probably going to close my window, in which case it's going to get incredibly hot and stuffy in here. So that's the three reasons why I'm actually wearing lighter clothing today. Here we go. Once again, people who don't listen over in Kick, high 60s isn't hot. No, you're right. It's not. High 60s is not hot. But when the sun is out and it's high 60s outside, this office becomes about 85, 90 degrees, especially because of all of the components that I have in here. Multiple PCs, big screen TV, multiple monitors. It already gets stuffy, and then the sun heats up this room. But I've only explained this probably about 4,000 or 5,000 times. So if you're just an idiot who doesn't listen, I can't help you being stupid. Anyway, so there you have it. That's why I'm wearing these lighter clothes today. And you will see as it gets warmer, and the fact that I will be wearing more, you're going to see a whole new, wardrobe for the summer. I went shopping a couple weeks ago and got a whole bunch of new shirts and things. So you'll see over the coming months as things get warmer. As of now, I have not put my air conditioner into my window yet. I'm waiting because the rest of the house is very cool. Like it's not hot at all anywhere in the house. It's only this room that's been hot. So I've been looking and waiting and like, Next week, we're supposed to have a few more days that are going to be like 65, 70 degrees. And I'm like, well, maybe it's going to be time sooner rather than later to install the air conditioner in the window and to start to use it, which would suck. It means I don't get a lot of fresh air in here, but it is what it is. The good news is this year, it likely will be a lot cooler in here over the summertime because I have these curtains rather than the old blinds that were terrible. These curtains now will block out the sun and also insulate the cool, which the other blinds never did. The other blinds, like always, there'd be hot air blowing in and out, even when I had the air conditioner in. Here, these are supposed to hold in everything, so the room should actually stay very cool, and I probably won't need the air conditioner as much. Hopefully. We'll have to see. Okay? All righty. Now, another thing, because honestly, I wasn't going to bring this up today at all because this is private stuff, has nothing to do with you guys. But today's my wedding anniversary, and already you're idiots over in the Kick Chat, the usual LARPing trolls. Oh, he's on stream instead of celebrating his wedding anniversary. Idiots. So, as you guys well know, I've had a lot going on this year in my private life. This week already was a crazy week with the birthday marathon. My wife was working. We are already going to celebrate, but we're going to celebrate next week. Okay. In fact, we have an extra day off slated for next week to spend time together rather than on the actual day of the anniversary. All right. So, FYI, next week, there's going to be an extra day off. I will talk more about that as we get closer to, next week's schedule. So you guys will know well ahead of time what days I'm here and I'm not next week. But that's, not a big deal. It's my personal business. FYI, we're probably ordering out dinner today. Probably something my wife loves, like sushi or something, to celebrate. But outside of that, it is what it is. When you get older, you realize, hey, yes, it's nice to celebrate holidays and anniversaries, but usually don't get to just take entire days off in the middle of nowhere to do so. You got to just do it when you have time. And we're going to have time next week. And that's when we're going to celebrate it. Actually, you guys are right. People are like, you look like you're wearing the Vice City shirt that Tommy Vercetti wore. You're absolutely right. That's what this shirt looks like. I didn't realize it till right now. You guys are dead on correct. It does look like Tommy Vercetti's shirt. Wow. Cool. All righty then. Excellent. All right. Anyway, so folks, welcome to the show. We got all the nonsensical stuff out of the way, and now we can talk about the important topics, of which we don't have any today because I checked and there's really no game news going on to really mention today. There's nothing that I really need to update you guys on. What I would like to do is talk about how yesterday's streams went because yesterday was a very positive streaming day, that's for sure. But outside of that, we could chill. I'm very curious about today's game. For those who don't know, today we're playing a game called Blueprints. Until just a few days ago, I was not aware of this game's existence. I'm not sure if anyone was. And if anything, I think the story to tell here is that this year, particularly, all right, looking at a game release schedule means nothing. Trying to predict what games are good or bad or people will care about is impossible. You guys realize that we are almost 4 whole months into the year. We're about 3.5 months into 2025. Okay. I could count on one hand the number of good game releases that have actually come out that are like worth playing. And quite frankly, it's probably one of the slowest starts of a year I've ever seen. The thing is, some of the biggest games of the year so far, for example, Monster Hunter Wilds, right? That's for a particular audience. It's not necessarily a widespread, mainstream, oh my God, everyone must play style of audience. In fact, it's the opposite. It is a good audience and it's a good fan base that spends a lot of money. But at the same time, if you're not in that fan base, you kind of don't care. I compare it to like the popularity of something like League of Legends, where, my God, there's an insane worldwide community for it. But if you're not in that community following the competitions and everything, you really don't care about League of Legends, right? And that's the thing. I liked Monster Hunter Wilds. When I tried the beta or the demo or whatever it was, I actually thought it was a fine game, but it didn't resonate with my audience. So I skipped it, What else? You could argue Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 might have been the other biggest game of the year, because outside of that, all the other games that people expected to be the big hype games have not been so. I mean, probably you would say Assassin's Creed Shadows, right? I mean, you want to talk about the ultimate game that just was not what they were expecting it to be, did not sell nearly as well as they wanted, as expected. You know, it's just been a slow year. I mean, if you just take a look at just the game release schedule in general, not even the games that I played or the games that I chose to skip, but just in general, right? So we had in January nearly nothing. Going back to February, we had the Elden Ring Night Rain beta, which was good. Looking forward to that game actually coming out. Avowed, mid to low. Lost Records, are you kidding me? One of the worst games that has ever been put out as a narrative-based game. Fatal Fury's open beta was a flop with insane amounts of lag and bad matchmaking. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, which is an okay game, but a spin-off game that's not mainstream, really, like a main installed number in the series. Monster Hunter Wilds, okay, that was huge, admittedly. Split Fiction, if you play co-op games, that was huge. Outside of that, the Suikoden 1 and 2 collection, for me, a huge game, but certainly not for everyone, right? WWE 2K25, has anyone even talked about it? Assassin's Creed Shadows, and we all know how that went. Atomfall, which I've now been playing now for a couple of weeks and is kind of, again, mid. It's not great, but it's not awful. It's kind of in the middle. And then most recently, South of Midnight, right? So when you look at these games that have come out, it's really not been a very good year at all. Underwhelming, kind of mid to nothing. And what are the big games that everyone talked about? Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which no one even knew was going to be good, right? And now the game we're playing today, Blueprints. What the hell is Blueprints, right? Like, what? What is that? Well, apparently it's great. It's a game that's supposed to be a unique hybrid puzzle game. So it's part puzzle, part exploration, part other stuff. And people who've played it early and reviewed it said, man, it's actually legitimately one of the best games of the past few years. It's unique. It stands out from the pack and tries to do things different, which is something you see rarely in today's modern gaming age. And it's getting praise up, down, left, and right. Now, here's the funny part about that, right? Blueprints has been, well, it is, I should say, both on Game Pass and on PS Plus. You just play it if you're part of those services. Both. It's not even just, we chose one or the other. It's on both. So let me ask you this question. If the makers of Blueprints had known that this game was going to get the positive press that it is currently getting, that people were going to say this game is a Game of the Year contender, and that everyone this week would be a buzz about this game and be playing it today, do you think they would have put it on those services? If anything, I think they felt, well, we're kind of a smaller indie game style thing. No one's really going to know about our game. Let's put it on there to get, exposure. But now they're probably kicking themselves in the butt saying, man, we should have just sold this thing outright. We could have made a lot of money. Because the truth is, we don't know what kind of agreements these companies have with Game Pass or PS Plus because they don't reveal them. They're all behind the scenes agreements, right? But isn't it crazy that this year, some of the biggest releases and things we're talking about, again, 2 years running, are these games no one's heard of, and then boom, they hit the scene and everyone starts talking about it. I mean, what was the one last week? Schedule 1, right? And now we've got Blueprints. What's next week? Seriously, what's the next game that no one's talking about or heard of, and all of a sudden, next week will become virally popular? And then on the flip side of that, what's the next AAA level, heavily advertised game that's going to release and flop hard again this year? Things are topsy-turvy in the gaming landscape in the last couple of years, okay? Now, I'm not complaining. I'm not. Now, because again, you guys and your level of support, I'm able to get whatever I want and play whatever I want, no matter what. I can play any game at any time because I have the formats to do it. The platforms, I'm on PC, so I'm flexible. I can play these indie games. I can afford whatever. It's all good. But I'm just saying, what a bizarre twist. And man, if I hadn't had this big change in the last 6 to 8 months and been able to do all this, quite frankly, we might have been sitting around with our thumb up our butt saying, what do we play? Because the big games that normally Phil would play have not been good. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. So, I guess we'll see. Today, I'm actually very excited to see what this game is today. I like unique games. I like fun games. I like things that stand out and are different. I don't like these cookie cutter following AAA games where, we're putting out a new game. Check off this box, check off this box, check off this box. And half the boxes are monetize the game in 700 ways so that the company makes a lot of money. I'd rather have a game that's unique, that's fun, that's different. If that's what Blueprints is today, then I'm all for it. But the question you do have to ask, because there is another factor here, will Blueprints translate into a game that's fun to watch? That's the question at hand, because it very well could be an incredibly fun game to play with unique puzzles and interesting aspects to it. But what if the game isn't fun to watch? What if the game is kind of boring to watch? And this is always the factor that I have to have in play, okay, when I play a game. I want to entertain my audience. That's the idea. I'm not playing a game for me. I'm playing a game for us. Otherwise, I could just play the game off stream for myself, right? So, will the game translate into something good? I hope so. Genuinely, whenever I'm usually enjoying a game, it translates into something very entertaining for the audience. In general, there have been some exceptions, but I'll say notably so recently, the Suikoden 1 HD remake playthrough. Okay? Certainly it did not resonate with a lot of people because a lot of people don't like classic RPGs around here. But the fact that I was playing it and enjoying the hell out of it every moment that we played it led to having a dedicated group of people who would come by, engage, and support the playthrough, and it worked in its entirety. It was a great 20-hour playthrough. All right? So, continuing on with that thread of thought and reasoning, hopefully Blueprints will resonate with all of you if I like it, because I don't know if I will. I'm staring at it and I'm like, it's a puzzle game. I've liked puzzle games in the past. Take a look at playthroughs such as, what was that one that had all the crazy laser puzzles and things that we played that time? I can't remember. But I liked that one. But guess what? That one didn't resonate with the audience and I had to stop playing it. I played it like maybe 10, 15 hours and people were complaining it was too slow moving and boring and I had to stop playing it, right? But then compare it to like Riven or Mist, which actually really worked and ended up being great playthroughs. And I did full playthroughs of them. Okay? So it could be all over the place. It could be great. It could not be great. At the very least, I'm playing this one when it's brand new and I'm playing it per your request. Rather than me just pulling this game out of thin air, you guys asked me to play Blueprints and told me all about it. So at least that gives me hope that people would like it and will actually tune in for the playthrough. All right? So let's see how it goes. All right? I'm excited for it. Thank you for suggesting it. Again, this is a game that likely I never would have known about if you guys hadn't brought it up. And I think sometimes those turn out to be some of the best playthroughs that I've done. But man, again, what a year exposing the fact that most of the major games and studios coming out haven't been that big. And the few that have been, like I said, Monster Hunter Wilds, Split Fiction, they're not games for my audience. My audience doesn't really like them. So, it is what it is. Perhaps this will actually be a big game for me and people will really like the playthrough. I hope so. I don't know. I purposefully have not spoiled myself on this game at all. I haven't looked it up at all. I haven't seen a single piece of gameplay because I just trusted you guys. Okay? So, hopefully, it'll work out. Okay. So, what we should do now, let's sit back and look at the schedule for a little bit. All right? What I'd like to do is just kind of get caught up with where we are currently with all the games that I'm playing, shall we? So let's look at the games that I'm a good chunk into right now. All right? Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. The good news about this one is we're in the home stretch and we're about to beat it. We have one major pirate battle that ends chapter 4 After that, and a little bit more combat and story, we head into chapter 5, which is the finale. I would argue 2 more streams of major story focus, we will probably beat Pirate Yakuza, which is good because I've over 30 hours into the game and almost 2 months playing it. When I started playing it, I was told it was 30 hours if you do all the content. Once again, a blatant lie. All right. Like, and people always say this. Oh, well, the game reviewers and this guy and that guy said that you could do all the side content and beat the game in 30 hours. And the answer, yeah, if you fucking speed run it, if you literally skip all of the cutscenes, if you turbo through mashing a button, maybe you can beat it that fast. But who does that? You know, I'm an interactive streamer. I'm reading the dialogue. I'm watching the cutscenes. I'm interacting with you guys. This playthrough's been over 30 hours for me and climbing, but I'm ready to finish it. To be honest, I want to see it end. So that is a big push. Like next week, I'm at least playing the game twice. I'm trying to beat it to get it out of the rotation. All right. I want to move on to other stuff or give more time to other things. Atomfall. At this point, Atomfall, we're around 10 hours in. People are saying that I'm probably around halfway through. It really depends. Like, Atomfall does have a lot of side content, but people are saying that if I really focus just kind of on story advancement, we could beat it, you know, within like 20 hours. So I guess we'll see what we want to do. I'll be honest, yesterday's stream, the game started to really bore me because they did a piss poor job of making the combat interesting. Okay, the combat of Atomfall has become incredibly repetitive and just too grindy and time-consuming. When you think about a good open-world RPG, what makes it unique? Well, think about Dishonored. Oh, all the superpowers that you have going around. You could either use stealth or platforming or combat to tear people apart, and it's very fun, right? Skyrim. Oh, my God. Cool hand-to-hand combat, but also you've got the shouts. You could use magic, right? All these extra things that make the combat fun. Fallout. Well, it's got VATS. VATS alone makes the combat in Fallout feel special and interesting and different, right? And then you're like, Atomfall. Nothing. It's just repetitive, grindy, and boring. Every time I engage an enemy now in Atomfall, 2 more come around the corner, and then 2 more, and then 2 more. And it's like, wait a minute. How is that fun? So either I have to kill endless gauntlets of enemies, which is very unfun, or I have to use stealth the entire game, and if I get detected, run like a coward, which also is not fun. The best part about Atomfall, I would say, is the world design and the plot. I'd like to know what's actually going on in the plot, and I'd like to see more unique areas. Outside of that, all of the gameplay when it comes to, like, the combat is boring. So that's a problem because, you know, we're about 10 hours in, and now we're starting to get to more combat-heavy, enemy-populated areas of the game. And that's just a real disappointing thing, right? So let's see what happens moving forward with this game. All right. I don't know how it's going to go, quite frankly. But I like to keep going with it, at least for another stream or two. I don't necessarily want to drop it because it's not bad. But at the same time, you know, we are 2 weeks into it, right? It started, I think it was like the 21st of March it came out. We're 2 weeks into it, and I'm not necessarily getting the vibe that people are loving it that much. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, it's okay. And then when we get to the grindy parts of the combat, it's kind of annoying. So, you know, let's see. We're going to keep it up for next week, keep it in the rotation, see how it does. But hopefully I will actually get, you know, major story progress moving forward. You know, it's got to the point where basically what I'm being told is what you need to do is find different ways to get into this intergrade. And then you'd go in there and you do like a dungeon with enemies and puzzles. And then when you're done with that, you can move on to the next part and the next part of the story. The problem is the game doesn't tell you where the entrances to the intergrade are. So you could end up endlessly wandering the maps of the game looking for these entrances if you don't know where they are. And a lot of people are like, well, it's just better to look them up. That way you could at least make progress every time you play. So we'll see. I am going to continue more of that. All right. Disco Elysium. You know, I'll be honest here. The game is very unique. It's not like anything I've ever played because it really is a hybrid between the point-and-click adventure games of yesteryear combined with a very dialogue-heavy game with lots of different kind of interesting options and ways to go about stuff. A lot of what seems to be kind of side content as well. And one of the more unique things about the game that people have told me is that you can basically play that game many different ways. Okay. So, we're going to continue on with that at least once a week, if maybe not twice moving forward. What I need to do is I need to finish Pirate Yakuza. And once Pirate Yakuza is done, then I can put more time into other games that I'm basically playing once a week, and we can make more progress in them. Okay? Cool. Outside of those three major games, right? Because those are the three games I'm playing that are basically narrative based. We've got Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which I played again last night. The new seasonal maps are in there. We played them. They were fun. And so I'm enjoying that. I have new surround sound headphones that I tested out with it that seem to be pretty good. So, I'm enjoying myself at least with that, playing it every once in a while. Fighting games. This week we're going to return to fighting games tomorrow night, and it looks like I'm probably going to do some retro games again against some of my old friends, have some really high-end matches, and go from there. So I like keeping fighting games in the rotation, at least once a week. So what I really think I need to do in the next couple of weeks, I need to finish Pirate Yakuza. I need to make the decision if I'm going to continue to play Atomfall. All right. And if I am, I need to basically put more time into it so we can try to finish it. Because I would like in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I would like to wrap up a lot of these ongoing playthroughs so we could focus on new ones. We do have Clair Obscur coming out, and there are other games in early May that are going to take priority, and I need to have time to play those rather than be stuck in the middle of a 20, 30-hour playthrough and that I'm never going to finish. So, let's see how it goes, all right, in the next few weeks. And I want to say thank you for yesterday, and here's why. I had a very, not necessarily bad or disappointing day, but we didn't hit any goals on Tuesday, all right? And, having a double day where 2 goals are not hit is disappointing because I like to keep the momentum going, and we've actually had lots of momentum over the last several weeks with support. It's been amazing. I'm playing games like, again, Suikoden and stuff like that, and we're hitting the goal. That's wild to me, right? And then all of a sudden on Tuesday, we had 2 streams, not 1, but 2. We had South of Midnight, and then we had Pirate Yakuza, and neither of them even came close to hitting a goal of support. And I was like, oh, shit, right? But the good news is yesterday we were back. Atomfall, we hit the goal and exceeded it, actually. And we actually did DSP tries at Little Caesars. If you didn't see it, better DSP tries it than I would argue even the last few. It was definitely better than the Taco Time one from the other day. We tried the pretzel crust pizza. We also tried the Detroit deep dish pizza and crazy bread. And so that was a fun one, like a triple taste test. And that's live over on DSP Reacts if you haven't seen it yet. There's going to be a little break now because now we have to hit 20 goals in order to do any reward. I don't foresee that happening quickly. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe we'll have a crazy over-the-top supportive day. But I'm really not seeing that happen. I think it's going to be like a normal week. It might take us about a week now to hit our next goal. And so we'll talk about that in a second. Like, what should the next goal be? We've already discussed possibly Popeyes because they have a pickle-based menu, but maybe not. We'll talk about it in a minute, okay? So anyway, yeah, Atomfall yesterday, we hit the goal, and then last night, Call of Duty. I actually was doing pretty good. I was running around with katanas, chopping people up, and I was trying the new maps, and then I went to sniping, and the sniping was going well. People liked it and supported, and so, boom, we hit another goal. So that was excellent to actually hit 2 goals yesterday. So thanks to everyone who did support and allowed me to hit my goals yesterday and get us back on track, right? Now, obviously, the hope today is that momentum keeps up. That today with Blueprints premiering, which you don't know how it's going to go, but hopefully it goes well, and tonight with Smart Guys, my wrestling commentary show, and this is my final commentary show before WrestleMania, the hope is that everything's going to go well. And by the way, you want to know the truth? By the way, my hair's sticking up again. I cannot get it to stay down anymore these days. Look at it. Just right there. It just won't stop sticking up no matter what I do. And I've tried brushing it and everything. It just sticks up, whatever. So I was dead on correct with my assessment last week. For those who don't know, last week on Smart Guys, the guest host was Cypress TV. And we were having this discussion, all right, about what's going to happen between now and WrestleMania. Because really, the whole Cody Rhodes, John Cena plotline has been set up. There's really nothing more to say about it. And then Cypress was like, yeah, and the rumor is that's it. John Cena will not even be on TV until WrestleMania. So there's nothing left to do. And we were like, I wonder if they're just going to roll recaps. Yes, that's exactly what they did this week. They just rolled recaps. So neither Cody Rhodes nor Cena were at any of the shows this week, which is very disappointing, obviously, for the crowds. They were like, this sucks, right? What they focused on this week was the triple threat between Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk, and there was a ton of buildup for that, but that was resolved this week. So now there's really nothing to do next week. I actually think I've picked the best week to not do a wrestling commentary show. Next week, I'm not doing one, for the record, because it seems to me like there's nothing happening. Like, it's just going to be like a filler crap week right before WrestleMania, which is really silly, but that seems like what they're doing. So anyway, tonight on Smart Guys, I will be talking about all this in detail, the final developments with the Paul Heyman favor and all of that, and new matches that have been set up. So now the WrestleMania card is finally like being laid out what it's going to be. And, can finally kind of give my opinions on all of that tonight on the show. So if you haven't seen it, or if you didn't know about it, it's tonight, 7 p.m. Pacific time, on the DSP Reacts channel, which is at DSP Reacts, okay? Or also right here on my Kick channel, if you're watching live on Kick, it's on both, okay? So I hope that you guys will join me for that. And it should be a good show. Now, I have my third and final co-host tonight. And, fingers crossed, everything goes according to plan with that. It's actually going to be a really interesting one, all right? But I'm hoping everything goes according to plan. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, we'll see. We'll find out by tonight. But either way, Smart Guys will be a good show tonight. The final build-up before WrestleMania. By the way, I have the new box of WWE trading cards to unpack if we hit the support goal of $100. So we'll see, okay, on the late stream. Tomorrow, finally, it'll be time for Minecraft, because you guys have wanted Minecraft now back in the rotation. You've asked for it with the Minecraft movie making insane amounts of money this week. Everyone's been talking about Minecraft, and I did the Minecraft Lego set on my birthday on Sunday, but we never got around to playing the game. So tomorrow on the day stream will be Minecraft for the first time in many, many years. All right. It's going to be I think it's the Bedrock version, because I have the codes from doing the Minecraft meals last week. So I have these codes, but I also have the codes for the other things too. Like, I've gotten all of the codes for the McDonald's items in Minecraft, and I think you have to do the Bedrock version in order to get those in there. So I think that's what we're going to do tomorrow. Start over a new Minecraft world, mess around, hang out, enjoy each other's company, see how it goes. I'm absolutely going to need your help to figure that out, because I don't remember Minecraft, right? It's been like over 4 years. I think we stopped playing it in like the summer of 2020. So it's going to need, I'm going to need some guidance on how to play and how to remember to do stuff. And it should be a fun time and a chill time tomorrow, okay? Very nice. And then tomorrow night is Friday Night Fights, and I have confirmed I will be playing retro fighting games again with my friends from the back in the day. We're going to have some Marvel 2 and probably some Third Strike, maybe some Super Turbo, we'll see. But we're going to play the oldies tomorrow night. Last week I played Street Fighter 6, and all it really did was create rage, and people didn't even like it. If you remember Street Fighter 6, people were complaining the game sucks, and, very low engagement, low support. People were actually liking it a lot better when I was playing the old games, so we're going to do that tomorrow night. Okay? Cool. Very nice. All right, guys. So let's take a look. Let's get some support rolling for the show today. Our first contribution today is a $5 tip from Flatman B, who says, "Hey, everyone, have a great day. Jesus bless you all, and positive vibes to all." Thank you, Flatman, for our first contribution of the day. Appreciate that. Very good. So, like I said, I'm playing Blueprints today per your request. Let's hope it's good. Let's hope it resonates with the audience. Let's hope it turns into a great playthrough. And let's get some support, shall we? Who's going to be the first super chatter today, right? Who's going to be the first member? Who's going to gift a sub over on Kick, right? Let's do it. Let's get our first contributions of each type today and go from there. All right? Cool. Now, outside of everything I just talked about, the only other thing that I really have to talk about as an update, a follow-up from yesterday, would be my new Logitech headphones, which I unboxed yesterday live on the show, and I told you I was going to test them during Call of Duty, correct? Fair enough. So how did that go? Well, I'll tell you. These are the Logitech Pro X2 wireless headphones, all right? They work with PC. I believe if you mess around with them, there's a way to make them work with other formats as well, but I think they're primarily meant for PC, okay? So I played them with Call of Duty last night, and when I plugged in the adapter to the USB port on my computer, it basically prompted, "Hey, you're gonna want to use the G Hub software, which is the software that basically has all the drivers and things for Logitech devices." So I booted up the G Hub software, did a firmware update, and when it did, it put all of this proprietary software into the actual computer to give me surround sound and stuff no matter what I'm doing. Now that's different because when I was using the Corsair headphones, it just didn't have that and defaulted to whatever the Windows stuff is. I think it's called Windows Spatial Sound. But here I'm actually using Logitech's programming and drivers. All right. They had their own proprietary stuff. And I tested it and it was 7.1 surround. I was like, holy crap, that's really cool. But the problem is my setup doesn't really allow for that. Allow me to explain. I'm not playing Call of Duty on the same PC that I'm using these headphones on. Why? Because if I did, I wouldn't be able to give you guys audio. What do I mean? Well, think about it. PCs only do audio out through one source at a time, I should say, right? So if I plugged those headphones into my gaming PC, I would actually have 7.1 surround sound playing Call of Duty. The problem is you guys would have silence. You wouldn't hear the game. Now, if there is a workaround for that someone is aware of, I'm all ears. I would love to have true surround sound when I play Call of Duty by plugging these headphones into that PC. But to my knowledge, you can't do that. All right? So what I need to do instead is I need to plug these headphones into my streaming and gaming PC, okay? So I'm getting the audio from the gaming PC into the streaming PC. That's what you hear. And then that audio gets converted through this Logitech software to pseudo surround sound. So it does have a surround sound effect, but it's not necessarily great. So what I can tell you is, all right, basically the audio fidelity of these headphones is actually much better than what I had on the Corsair headphones. Very deep bass, big explosions, like when grenades were going off, certain guns, it was like giant explosions on the battlefield. All right. So in that regard, it was sounding great. I was like, wow, blown away with how well it sounded. But as for the surround sound effect, it wasn't great. I do wish that it had better surround sound. It was just okay. I'm curious if I use Windows Spatial Sound, which is what I was using with the Corsair headphones, instead of the Logitech proprietary drivers, if it would actually sound better or worse. I'm not sure. All right. So for what it is, if you're not going to get the true surround because you're not gaming on the same PC that this is plugged in, they're just okay. All right. But if anyone has any clue of how I could get these to sync with my gaming PC and I could get the true 7.1 surround playing Call of Duty, but then the audio would also come out of the gaming PC and go into the streaming PC via a dual audio out, and then you guys could get audio too. I would love to figure that out, but I don't know how to do that. All right. I tried it. Like I had headphones. I tried plugging them in there. It would just default headphone audio out and it wouldn't allow me to do two at once. Okay. Six Hybrid says download voice meter to output audio to two devices and still have 7.1. I don't know what the voice meter is. What is that, an app or something for PC? So I would love to get some support there if you guys know, because I mean, I spent a lot of money on these, over $200. It would be great if I could get my 7.1 surround playing Call of Duty. Outside of that, they sound good. So I feel like tonight when I'm doing Smart Guys and I'm using this to hear my co-host, they should be good. You know, and they're comfortable too. They're lighter than the Corsairs were. And as you can see, no microphone by default. So I don't have a stupid mic jutting out in front of my face or whatever. They're pretty good. But we'll see as time moves on. The one thing that I didn't like, because the ear cups are this fake plastic pleather material, when I was done gaming, they were all greasy and gross. So I had to go get a towel and cleaner and clean it off. Because if you don't do that, you could build up bacteria and all kinds of gross stuff in your headphones. So every time I use these, I'm going to have to go wipe them down. Now, there is a second set of ear cups that this came with that are foam. And that's great because they usually don't do that. The problem with that is they don't really do the noise isolation very well. So it's like better noise isolation, but greasy mess, or no greasy mess, but you can hear everything in your room. Kind of a trade-off, right? So overall, so far, I liked my first experience with them, but I'm wondering if there's a workaround to figure out how to get true surround sound out of my gaming PC with them. So there you go. Okay. All right. Shout out to Chills. Chills did a $5 super chat. Thank you to Chills. Let's get that on the leaderboard. Six Hybrid says Voice Meter is a virtual audio mixer. It supports multiple inputs and outputs and 7.1 audio. I wonder if it works in conjunction with the Logitech software, because you need the Logitech software to actually get 7.1 audio out of those. And I'm legit wondering, would it be compatible or not? I guess you don't know till you mess around with it, right? Chels, thank you for the $5 super chat. Appreciate that. Game Boy, how are you doing today? Good to see you. All right, so guys, I have covered all the topics that I want to cover. All right, FYI, in the next several days, today we've got Blueprints and Smart Guys. Tomorrow, we've got Minecraft returning and Friday Night Fights of classic fighting games. I'm off on Saturday. Sunday, we have more Atom Fall and I believe Pirate Yakuza. It's either that or, hold on, because I'm trying to remember the dates that I'm doing Disco Elysium. No, we're going to do Atom Fall and Disco Elysium on Sunday. And then Monday, we're going to do more Blueprints and Pirate Yakuza Endgame as we try to push to finish the game. And that's as far as the schedule goes for now. I will update it over the week. FYI, next week is a 5-day streaming week for me. I am taking an extra day off to spend some time with my wife next week. So FYI, 5 straight days of streaming starting on Sunday. Okay? Cool. What's up, King Michael? How are you over on Kick? How's it going? Very nice. Okay. All right, guys. Well, why did you put Most Tasteless in a timeout? He was just repeating some song lyrics. You didn't have to do that. Can we untime out Most Tasteless? I don't know if we can, but I don't want him to be timed out, but I don't know if there's a way to untime him out. I think that might have been a mistake because he didn't do anything wrong. Well, whatever moderator did that, if you could fix that, I would appreciate it. Because I didn't think he did anything. Okay. Excuse me. All right, so uh he did what? Why did he say that? I don't know why he said that. Most tasteless, what are you doing? Why are you saying that in the chat? Anyway. All right, guys. Well, that's what I had to talk about today. So we have some extra time to chat if you so choose. All right, let's see. What do you guys want to talk about? Tag me in chat. Let's do a little bit of Q&A back and forth. See what topics are hot today that you guys want to discuss. But outside of that, if we need to end the show early, we end the show early. We'll see, and then we'll get into blueprints earlier. All right. NJZ says, didn't you say you got bonus chicken wings yesterday with Little Caesars? We did. It was a container about this big, so not huge. And I think it had maybe like 6 or 7 chicken wings. But when I say chicken wings, it was the little mini drumsticks. And we had chosen the barbecue flavor. So my wife said she had one, didn't really like it. She was like, the barbecue sauce wasn't bad. But the moment she bit into the wing, she's like, you could tell this was like frozen, dried out chicken meat. It wasn't a fresh wing, a fresh piece of chicken, and it just didn't have good flavor in the meat. Like the sauce was okay, but the meat was not good. So she had like a bite of one and was like, I don't want it. And I was full after dinner. I was completely full. So I didn't have any. So I don't know. And she didn't like them. So maybe that's why they're free. I don't know. Oh, but then Jose, I already explained. He says, how's the weather? Today it's going to be in the 60s outside, but there's a chance of sun and there's a chance it'll be cloudy. It's like that partly cloudy deal. If it's sunny, that means it's going to get very hot in here. It'll probably end up being like 80, 85 degrees in here. So that's why I wore light clothes today. There's a chance it won't be. But the other thing is that my neighbors are doing renovations and they have a guy doing work in their driveway where they're like cutting wood and stuff. And since that's been happening on and off, if they end up doing it too much, I might have to close my window, in which case it's going to get very hot and stuffy in here. So again, it's another reason why I'm wearing summertime clothes today. Fed Roger, who gives a shit about that? He goes, Naughty Dog announced The Last of Us Complete. It's Last of Us Remastered 1 and 2 together. So I just think about this. They come out with The Last of Us 1. Then within a year, they resell Last of Us 1 again as PS4 upgrade, right? Then they resell it again as a PS5 upgrade, and it's literally the same as the PS4 game. It's no difference. It's exactly the same. Okay? So then they do Last of Us 2, and then within just a few years of Last of Us 2, they release Last of Us 2 Remastered or whatever it is. And again, it's literally exactly the same as the original game, except they added in a tiny bit of new content. All right? So you got people who bought Last of Us 1 3 times, and people who bought Last of Us 2 twice. Now, Naughty Dog says, well, we're going to release them again. They're exactly the same again, but now we're going to sell them in a package together. We sold them piecemeal separately first, but now we're going to sell them together for $110. All right? If you're stupid enough to buy The Last of Us a 4th time, I don't think that anyone can help you. You'll just be dumb for the rest of your life. Now, if you've never played The Last of Us 1 and 2 before, this is probably a good value to get the best, latest editions of the games together in one collection. That is a incredibly, insanely small percentile of gamers. Most gamers who are interested in Last of Us have played it by now. So, let's be honest here. Naughty Dog has not done anything since Last of Us 2, not a single thing. We know they are working on this other game, but they've done nothing in 5 years. They've just re-released the same games over and over for repeated profits because people are dumb enough to keep paying the money for the same games. So, I guess keep milking the stupid. What else is it? I mean, that's exactly what they're doing. Hey, we'll just milk them a 4th, 5th time because they keep giving us money, Then again, how many people bought Mario Kart and then bought Mario Kart and then bought the DLC for Mario Kart and kept spending money on Mario Kart, the same one, for like a decade. So it's not like Nintendo's not guilty of it, right? Is it the same thing over and over? If consumers are that gullible, then I guess you keep taking advantage. That's what they seem to be doing. Hello, Pecker. How are you? What a nice name, Pecker. All right. What do I think killed Killer Instinct? Oh, that's a very simple answer. Okay. So Killer Instinct in the 1990s was a game franchise that was very promising. Okay. At a time when all fighting games were 2D, Killer Instinct added a 3D rotating camera aspect to the 2D combat and had very high quality 3D models that were scanned to be in a 2D plane. It had better graphics than most fighting games at the time, and it had a crazy soundtrack and high combos, like insane hit combos. All right. Very flashy, very exciting. And it was supposed to be a launch title for the Ultra 64. But the Ultra 64 never existed. The Ultra 64 changed twice and ended up eventually being the Nintendo 64. And by the time the Nintendo 64 came out, Killer Instinct 2 was already out in arcades, and the Nintendo 64 couldn't handle the actual graphics of Killer Instinct 1 or 2 because it wasn't powerful enough. So by the time Killer Instinct got a home port on Nintendo console, it was underpowered, and Nintendo consoles weren't a good place for fighting games. There weren't good controllers for it. You wouldn't want to hold a tournament on it. So because of that, it basically died. There was never a Killer Instinct 3. They didn't even care to do another one. Now, many, many years later, remember at the launch of the Xbox One, Killer Instinct was planned to be a console exclusive because Microsoft at that point owned Rare, the company that made Killer Instinct. And they thought, this is great. This is going to be absolutely a big win for us. We're going to have an exclusive fighting game on the Xbox One. It's going to have a new reason why people would want this console over the fact that, Xbox 360 was so dominant last console gen. Now we're going to have an exclusive fighting game that looks good, plays good. And the truth is, Killer Instinct was a game that looked good and played good when it came out. For sure, it actually looked better than the other industry standard games. It looked better than Street Fighter, okay? But the problem was very simple. It was an Xbox One exclusive at a time when Microsoft completely botched the launch of the Xbox One. You had Don Matrick going out there saying, hey, if you need to trade games, if you want to share games, if you have a bad internet connection, we have a console for you. It's called the Xbox 360. So by him being a cocky, full of himself elitist prick, basically saying that the Xbox One is only for an elite group who are okay without having game sharing, without trading in games, without, you need an internet connection, he buried his own console. Okay? So what ended up happening was, even though they backpedaled on most of those features, no one knew about it. The launch of Xbox One was a ginormous flop, especially with the fact that it needed the Kinect bundled with it. And even though Killer Instinct was a fine fighting game, I remember playing it and being like, wow, it looks great, it plays good online. No one bought the Xbox One. So within a couple months of that game being out, the player base went from here to here to here to here. Fewer players means fewer good connections, means the more you play, the more lag. And just for a fighting game, it just wasn't sufficient. Within 6 to 8 months that, it was falling off. Now, there always was a dedicated group of people who liked Killer Instinct who played it, but it never hit mainstream popularity. And by the way, they never ported it to PC or PlayStation, so it only ever had that very small installed gamer base on Xbox One, and it never had a chance to really shine. If they were to make another Killer Instinct today that had the same game mechanics, played similarly to that one, and it was cross-platform, I predict it would do a lot better today. But the choice to make it a console exclusive essentially killed it. There you go. Okay. Guys, come on. Let's get some support. So far, we got one tip and one super chat. Let's get more than that. All right, before we start with blueprints today, let's get a membership. Let's get a sub. Let's get someone to top the one tip and the one super chat, which are both at $5. You can do $5.01 and you'll make it on the leaderboard. Okay. Usagi Jojo says, do you remember it only had one character playable? You had to buy the rest and had a teeny tiny roster at the beginning. No, but it's starting to ring a bell. I think you're right. Isn't that correct that they were trying a free to play model almost where, you know, you would get a starter character? No, I remember. So it was either that, it was free to play, but you only got one character and you had to play the crap out of the game to earn the others, or you could buy it. And most people who wanted it just bought it. They weren't going to sit there and grind endlessly to get the characters. They just bought the game. I did too, right? I remember I bought it. What do I think the Switch 2 price will be after the tariffs? Well, considering the fact that it sounds like the tariffs are getting paused and aren't really going to affect anything, I don't think the pricing is going to change now. It sounds like what's happening is the hard ball that President Trump is trying to play is working for the most part. It hasn't worked with China yet, but it seems to be working with other countries where he threatened these tariffs and the countries were like, oh shit, I guess we got to play ball. And so they are, right? Isn't it Europe has already relented and a few other countries are saying we're going to basically all relent on our tariffs and basically so it's never even going to happen. So there's a good chance that, you know, this whole thing, this is why they delayed the pre-orders and why they delayed it all, because within a week or two, the whole thing could be done with anyway and never actually hit any effect, right? I guess we'll see. Again, I don't know. I haven't really been heavily following it, but you know, that I think that's what they're going for is, hey, you're already hitting us with bad tariffs, so we threaten you with tariffs, and hopefully instead of everyone tariffing each other into death, we all just decide to relent on each other's tariffs to make it more fair for everybody. And then because of that, the prices will be normal, and therefore, hopefully, we won't see a giant inflated launch price for Switch 2, but I guess we'll see, right? Is Minecraft my longest playthrough? It was insanely long. I know that much. It was hundreds of hours. Like I said, it was lasting over a year. Here it is. The Minecraft Chill Streams playlist was 179 parts, spanning from December 2018 through the summer of 2020. So roughly 180 hours of gameplay of Minecraft. Now, in truth, is that my longest playthrough? No. Do you want to know what my longest playthroughs actually are? Fighting games. Probably Street Fighter 6. Because I played that a ton in 2013 or 2023, a ton in 2024, and so far I've played it an okay amount in 2025. And you could argue that's all a playthrough. And I know I've probably spent over 200 hours playing that. No, I've never heard about that game. Never heard of it. All right, anything else you guys want to talk about? Again, tag me in chat. And again, it would be great to get some more support before we start up with blueprints. Please support the stream. I did hear about Titanfall 3 rumors. The rumor is that Titanfall 3 not only is in production, but is almost done. But I'm not actually sure what factual basis that's based on. It could just be conjecture. I don't know. Thank you, King Michael. King Michael says he likes the shirt. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you so much. I don't know what Age of Wonders 4 is. Never heard of it. Oh, really? Okay, good. Thanks for telling me. No, I never knew about Age of Wonders. I never heard of it. Age of Wonders? No. It's probably because I don't play strategy games. I never played Little Nightmares 2. No, I did not. Yes, I love garlic because I'm Italian, and Italians love garlic by default. It's in our blood. Why, when I talk about a physical thing, do I have to show it? Because doesn't that add to the experience? Like, for example, I'm talking about headphones. The headphones are literally right there. So if I'm going to talk about the headphones, doesn't it make sense because I'm providing you a visual medium of entertainment to show you what I'm talking about? Like, I say, wow, I really like my mouse. My mouse feels good, has nice RGBs, it's lightweight, has a great battery life. I really like my mouse. Or I could do this. I really like this mouse. It looks nice. Look at the beautiful RGBs on it that are matching my background today. It actually syncs. It's lightweight, has a really good battery life. It's very comfortable in my hand when I put it on there. You know, it's just one of the best mice I've ever had. It's the light speed technology, so it has little input delay. It's great. See, that mouse is really good. Do you see the difference? Me just talking about an invisible thing where you have to try to visualize it for yourself versus actually seeing the thing. And the fact that I have a visual medium, doesn't it make sense that I should do that? In truth, I could be making bank right now, but it's just another thing that would be time consuming. You might be wondering, what am I talking about? Okay. A couple of months ago, YouTube started a new program. The program is this: anything that you have in your video, you can tag the video, and basically links to all the products that show up in your content will show on your YouTube page under your video. And people who like those items can actually click on those and buy them right through your YouTube page. It's right off of Amazon, I think. And if they do that, you get a cut. So no exaggeration, right now, I could be advertising the Sword Outpost Minecraft Lego set, the Shure M7 Plus microphone, these wall panels behind me from Elgato, the Devoom Pixu 64 digital frame, this Pac-Man lamp, the RGBs that I use behind in my setup, this RGB keyboard that I use, the mouse that I just showed you, my Stream Deck. I mean, I could keep going, right? This wrist rest that I use that I got off Amazon. I could tag this video probably with 20 to 30 product tags. And if anyone clicked on one and bought it, I get a commission. And YouTube is pushing this heavily. They keep telling me to do it. But the thing is, it's a pain in the ass. Every time I upload a video, do I then want to have to go back after the fact and put in 20 to 30 links so that people can, on a whim, decide that they want to click on one and buy something through the video? You know, it's annoying. And for everyone to understand, if you do it enough, okay, then it like will auto-populate when it sees those things in the video. So like if it knows in the video that you always have the Devoom Pixu 64 frame, it'll just start defaulting that so you don't have to do it manually. But I did it like, I actually tried it like 2-3 months ago in like 2 videos, and then I forgot all about it and I never started doing it again. I totally forgot. So if I ever have extra time, maybe I'll do it. The thing is, these days I have no time. Like, just think about this, right? On any given day, obviously I'm doing 2 major streams that are most of my day. Then I have to upload all those videos, including naming them. I'm making my own thumbnails now, right? That takes a lot of extra time to have to go through each video and find a frame and put titles and everything all over that. So, there's my extra. And if there's something worth highlighting, I do a video highlight as well. And that becomes a big thing too, editing out highlights, right? So I have all this time that's used. I don't have any free time to then sit there and put affiliate links and things, into the videos. So I've kind of just completely forgotten all about it. I'm trying to remember even how you do it. I've actually forgotten how you do it. I think the video has to be live first. Like, here's my... Yeah, here's my video. Here's my daily wrap from yesterday, right? And I'm trying to remember how you even do it. Because I did it a couple times, and I've completely forgotten about it now. Here it is, products. I found it right there. Here it is. And so you would add this, search products, or paste a product link. So let's say, Shure M7, MX7 Plus. There it is. Shure MX7 Plus dynamic podcast microphone. There it is right there. So it actually gives you different options. It says Sky by Gramophone, Target, or Adorama. Yeah. And then each one says, like this one, it says you'll get a 5% commission. This one, you get a 4.5% commission. So I'll just click on the first one. There it is. Yeah. So I hit plus. There it is. One tagged product. Done. Save. So now last night's daily wrap has one tagged product, this microphone in it. And if someone uses the link that shows on the screen and buys it, I get a commission. That's how it works. And YouTube is really pushing this right now. I keep getting emails about it. I keep getting pop-up messages about it. Apparently, this is their new thing. They feel like this is going to become like a giant revenue stream for them. I don't see how. Like, how often are you watching a YouTube video and someone's like, oh, so I'm using this product today, and here's the link to it, and you say immediately, oh, I'm buying that right now from that link. If anything, what I think happens is people would see that and be like, oh, that looks good. Let me go search around for the best price. Let me go to Amazon. Let me go to just a general search on the internet, compare prices, and buy. Sometimes someone's selling it on eBay cheaper. Sometimes the store online has it cheaper than another place. So when you get it on Woot, Woot is like cheap. You know what I mean? I don't know anyone, one person's like, oh, I'm just going to immediately buy this product because I saw it in the video with the first link I see. You know what I mean? Then again, I don't know. Maybe they would, because people have asked me all about all the new equipment I use in my setup, and I've answered the question, but I've... But I've never really tagged the products to see if anyone would actually do it. I guess I'd have to see. If I had time to do it, maybe I'll start doing it. The thing is, though, the video, I believe, has to be live before you can do it. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure the video has to be completely live to tag the product in it. But so if you're interested, check out last night's daily wrap. I just put the link. I don't know how it works. If you buy the microphone, maybe I get a commission. Maybe I don't. I don't know. There you go. Okay. Bronto just did a $2 super chat and says, I like the shirt. It's Dennis Nedry from Jurassic Park cosplay. I suppose so. This would be like a shirt that Nedry wore in Jurassic Park too. People are saying Tommy Vercetti, and I think this does almost look exactly like Tommy Vercetti's shirt from Vice City. I didn't realize that until people said it, and I was like, holy shit, you're right. It's the same color scheme. It's palm trees slash, leaves, which I believe is what was on his shirt. So yeah, it's Tommy Vercetti for sure. I received a $2 tip. Start blueprints already. We're going to. We're going to start blueprints. Again, if you guys don't want to talk or we have nothing to talk about, we'll stop, right? NJZ, if you want to hear my thoughts about Switch 2 pricing, I did a series of podcasts and highlight videos about it last week. You can check those out. I'm not going to go into that fully again today on the show. Zero asks, have I ever considered changing my stream times, earlier start, for example, to reach a European audience? Well, this stream is reaching a European audience. For sure. I start the stream around 11:30-ish, which even if you go across the pond, as they say, that's around 7-8 hour time difference. So it's definitely early enough for them to do. If I do it too early, no one's going to tune in the United States. Like if I turn this stream on at 7-8 in the morning, no one's going to watch it in the US. Everyone's going to be asleep or doing their own thing in the morning. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is, there's no perfect timing. Really, no matter what, whenever I start a stream, there's another part of the world where it's bad for. And I know because I've been doing this for 17 years and I have moved my times around many times. Okay, I have. I used to do longer streams, shorter streams, earlier, later. I've tried it all. But that is a reason why I do 2 streams a day, because I'm well aware that the earlier stream usually works for a more European audience. The late stream technically works more for an Asian audience. And I do have people in Asia who watch me, like Slayer over in Singapore. He tunes into my late streams because that's his morning. He can't tune into my daytime streams. Yes, and I know I have no Japanese viewers, so. How long did it take for me to settle into my current groove, like my streaming times now? I'm trying to remember. I remember correctly. When Kat moved in with me, we changed the times, but then we changed them again. Like we changed it twice. I think originally I was starting the stream earlier by about an hour, but it didn't really work. So that's why I pushed it forward about an hour. And now it seems to work a little better. I actually used to stream much later too. Like, if I remember correctly, my streams used to not start till like noonish at one point. Am I not proud to be Polish? Let me put it this way. I don't think I'm proud to be any nationality. I mean, I am a quarter Italian, and my second most concentrated nationality is Polish. So I'm mostly Italian. I'm secondly Polish, and then I'm just a bunch of other stuff crammed together. But do I feel massive pride at being those things? No, not really. I'm basically white, I'm a mix. So there's not much really to say, in that regard. I never had giant family practices based around my cultural heritage besides food. My mom would make homemade pasta sauce. She would make homemade lasagna, that kind of stuff. And then she would make homemade pierogies, kielbasa with sauerkraut, stuff like that. And then, traditional seasonal things like at Christmas, she would make these baked goods that I guess are supposed to be Polish, like a Polish Christmas roll or whatever. But outside of just the food, that's about it. That's it. When I say the window is open, I mean the glass. I still have a screen, so no, a bird has not flown into my window. What a ridiculous thing to say. Well, Zero, I grew up on the East Coast, and I lived there my entire life until 2014 when I moved out here to Washington. So, yeah, I would argue I'm still very much of an East Coast mentality. I mean, I still go by East Coast time, like dinner. I eat dinner between 4 and 5 p.m. That's my dinner. That's East Coast dinner. That's like, 7, 8 p.m. East Coast. That's when I'm eating dinner. I never really changed that. It's always been my time that I do stuff. I received a $2 tip. Start Blueprints already. So someone again is urging me to start Blueprints. They want me to play Blueprints. Well, thanks for another $2 tip. I promise you we're going to get to Blueprints. We will. You know what? I've never had a Cornish hen. I think a Cornish hen might be delicious. Looks good, but I've never had one before. Kickapoo, how are you over on Kick? Zero, I honestly don't know what to expect from the game. All I know is that it's a unique puzzle game. That's all I know. I did not look up anything about the game because I didn't want to spoil myself. I wanted it to be a genuine, like, first time, experience with the game, especially because people are saying it's a unique game. I didn't want to spoil that unique experience. All right. All right, how about this? Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap up the podcast, and I'll take a break. I got to use the bathroom and take a brief break, but this way, when I come back, we'll get some good amount of gameplay in our Blueprints today. Again, guys, please support the stream today. I hit both goals yesterday. I'm playing this game per your requests. I didn't know anything about it. Hopefully it goes well, and hopefully we'll hit a goal and enjoy the game at the same time, okay? So, thank you guys very much for a great and chill show. Tomorrow, of course, on the show, we will recap how everything went, including, hey, how was Blueprints? How did Smart Guys go? And any other game news or whatever's going on. Thank you so much for the chill vibes today, my friends. See you tomorrow for a week-ending episode of the Level 1 Podcast.